You just never know with technology what's going to happen.
Absolutely. Just go with it.
That's right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hello, everyone. I'm here today with Mary Bartnikowski. Okay. And she is the guru, the travel guru. Okay. And, all right, we have Eric Chadwell here. We have Marchelle, from what I can see, that have joined us. Okay.
Great.
I've missed some other names here. But I want to continue. So Mary here, she has 40 years of photography experience. She also holds a yoga certification since 2009, teaching for 10 years. Um, and she's a writer as well who does retreats. And did you tell me you were 69 years old?
Yeah, I'm 69 years old. That is correct.
Well, I should say 69 years young, okay,
Young.
because I'm 63, okay? So, yeah, so talk to me and talk to us about your journey through this whole thing. And what I found ironic is that you're a digital nomad and you do all of these things by yourself. I'm like, I know you doing this with someone else, but you like doing this by yourself. So talk to us. Tell us some of your secrets.
Okay, you know what? This is actually a good story, and I'll tell you what happened. So I'm in the heart of Silicon Valley, but I travel about 3 to 10 months every year. And so I've been in Silicon Valley for 40 years now professionally with my photography business. And this is the real story about the photography. So I did have a partner 20 years ago and we were doing weddings, but we got so many requests for weddings in Silicon Valley with these startup stars, high income people, tech innovators, and boom. So we were doing like 2 weddings a weekend. And so somebody called and I was turning down a lot of weddings and it just struck me in my head. I thought, wait a minute, I can actually do this wedding by myself because, once you get really good at it, you don't even need to have another person with you, just know how to do it. So I took that wedding and our income doubled because now I could do weddings and he could do his own. Now he didn't like it as much. And you know why? Because I'm very good at getting people to relax for people pictures. So I would be the one to get people to relax for our pictures of people at the weddings, and they'd go very fast. Well, I took that skill with me. And so our income doubled. And, I just looked at my tax returns from like the 90s and it definitely doubled. And I'm like, wow, we were making good money in photography in the 1990s, late 1980s, and into 2005. But here's what happened. 2.com crashes. I chose to get divorced after 20 years of marriage and working together. And it was all good. It was all good. But all these things happened at the same time. The financial crash, all of a sudden I had no photography clients. Got my divorce, had to move, was raising my teenage son by myself, single mom. He was 14. The psychologist that I was seeing said that's the worst age you can get divorced. Oh, thank you. Thank you for that. Um, okay, so all of these things conspired, which weren't great things after I'd been riding high on the photography business and everything was going great, financially and professionally. Well, in the meantime, I practicing yoga for at least 10 years, and my yoga teacher asked me to teach a class, make it. She's like, oh, you can do it. You've been doing this forever. Well, I was scared to do it, but I did it and I loved it. I really loved it. And so I'm like, this is interesting. I didn't even think I could do this. So I've been doing yoga for 25 years. And in 2009, I got my Kundalini yoga certification because I thought at the same time I was started to travel around the world in 2005 after I got divorced and was like, okay, my son moved on and he was traveling around the world. He's been to 50 countries. I've only been to 34. I got to catch up. And so he was in Nepal and invited me to come to visit him. So I took my first 2.5 month trip away from work in my whole adult life. I'd never had that much time off, not since being a teenager. And I even had a summer job. Hi, June Hall. Nice that you came over. And so everything started to change on that first trip. I met him in Nepal. And then we went to India together, and then I went to Bali by myself. And I came back from that trip to California a changed person. I was like, I gotta do this. So I was thinking the getting certified with the yoga would mean I could teach that all over the world. And you don't have to get certification if you want to teach. I had a lot of experience, but you know, it's a good. I did the many is.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mary. We have a bad connection right now. It's gonna pass. We're gonna patiently wait here. Okay.
So
This will pass. Okay. We're gonna wait here patiently because you have something very important that we need to hear. Okay.
we be patient. That's
Absolutely.
right.
We got plenty of time.
That's right, too. But you can hear me, right?
I can hear you just fine now.
Okay, good. Okay. Um, so to continue, oh, thanks for joining, Zephyr. So everything was happening in this whole like the travel, the yoga, and then okay, so here's what happened to me when I was in India living down the street from the Dalai Lama.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
Let's jump to that story because
Yeah.
that people started asking me to teach them photography and to teach them yoga.
Okay.
And so that was life changing because all of a sudden I had rupees in my pocket and I could pay for my rent, for all my food. I mean, it's pretty low cost um in India up in the Himalayas, but I didn't have to go to the ATM.
Hey.
And so that was a complete shock. And I was like, wow, I could do this. And it wasn't a big plan of preparation. Like it just people started to. So then I decided with people asking me, I was staying in this hotel and we're still connected. My friends that owned that hotel, they're actually traveling the world with their 3 sons right now. They just started. They moved back to Germany from India, but they said I could teach yoga on their rooftop. So I was had this beautiful view of the Himalayas. Oh my gosh. So I was teaching every morning and it was, like $3 a class, which
Well,
was
that
like, yeah, I mean, it worked. People came. And then I would also get a lot of those people to come to my photography workshops that which were like 3 hours. And I am, by the way, I'm leading a photography retreat and I just got my first person. I've done it several times, many times in Italy, in Sicily, and we're going February 16th to February 23rd. So if you want to come, it includes accommodation and it's on. We're going in
well,
Sicily
please make sure to
26th.
include. I'm sorry to cut you off, but please make sure to include the links, okay? So we can give people the information
I will.
so they can join. Okay?
I'm going to do it right now.
Absolutely.
So
Go
that's
on.
very exciting. I've taken people several times to Italy and Mexico. and I love doing it. It's a very small group. It's 6 people or less. And we have a lot of fun, and you come back with amazing pictures. Because I've been there 7 times, and I know where to take you, all the places to eat. And this time I'm including the accommodation because, it's nice for you to just show up and have that all taken care of. It's a boutique hotel, very nice place on the water, Mediterranean Sea. Very nice place for 1 week, and I can help you with your travel arrangements and anything that you need travel-wise, any kind of advice, and of course, all the guidance of photography. And you'll get amazing pictures, I promise you.
Okay, talk to me a little bit about the cameras, because like some people prefer Nikon, some people prefer, other kind. Do you particularly recommend a specific camera to people when
Oh,
they're
okay. Let me talk about that. I'm so glad you asked because this 80% of the people that come, they have their iPhones or Galaxies. So you don't have to have a fancy camera. Now, if you want to bring a fancy camera, I'm going to teach you how to use it because I've been a professional for 40 years. I know how to take any camera and use it, even if you brought a film camera, because I was a film photographer for 25 years. Now, what I have seen from going from film to digital, and I've done all my exhibitions with film converted to digital files. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, I would say just get the name brands like Nikon, Canon, Sony. If you want the mirrorless, those are nice. It's interesting because I've spent $500,000 on camera equipment and lab fees and everything. So the higher end cameras are always good. Now, you don't have to invest in those. I'm on a mission to help people realize that if you want to do it as a hobby, you can definitely use your phone. You can use your phone and you can take amazing pictures that are stunning. And I've done it with my phone, with my fancy camera. I mean, you really don't need a fancy camera unless you're in business or you're going to do a huge exhibition. And I've done 11 one-woman exhibitions, so I know you can actually, with a high-end camera and some of these phones too, you can make huge pictures from them. When the very first good camera came out on the iPhone, which was like, I think that one of the best ones was 2006, and then another was 2000. I can't remember, but anyway, Apple did this huge exhibition with huge pictures and they were beautiful. So don't think you have to spend $2,000 or $3,000. You don't. You can just bring your phone. Most people bring their phone. So don't feel like you have to have equipment. But if you do and you want to, bring it. You could bring film camera, you could bring a digital high end, and I'll show you how to use it. I'll show you the settings and we'll shoot together. It's mainly we're going to be with the photography, angle, light, composition, timing, and you can totally do that with your phone. And I've gotten amazing pictures with my phone, and I'll show you how to do it. We're going to be focusing on architecture. Where we're going in Sicily is this Baroque town which was very famous with the Greeks and the Normans, the Spanish. And so it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's absolutely stunning. You wake up in this UNESCO World Heritage Site, and the architecture is beautiful. We'll be photographing that, and then we'll go on dates to the place where White Lotus. There's another town, which is a beautiful place to go. As you know, Jeff Bezos was honeymooning there. Well, I've been going there years before he went.
okay.
It's a thing. And it's the best. There's no crowds. So
Okay.
if you want to come with us, I put the link in there. Get in touch if you have questions. But all the information, the accommodation, the price, the investment, what we're going to do, it's all at that page. So I'd love to have you because I have testimony too. There's video testimony. There's a link there. I teach photography for Airbnb, and I've got 95 5-star reviews for that for my teaching.
Well, since you're so busy with
So
the
we're gonna have fun,
I,
guaranteed. And
I, no doubt, no doubt. Mary, can you tilt your camera a little bit so we can see a little bit more of your head? Okay. And so I'm going to
oh wait,
continue a little bit more, a little bit more.
okay.
To,
You know what happened yesterday with my live stream? I couldn't see the person I was interviewing, but it turned out that I did show up. Can you not see my?
perfect, perfect, right there. Perfect, perfect,
Can you
perfect.
not see me? Okay,
What's
perfect.
important is that we hear you. Okay, that's the most important part. So let me ask you this question: how do you tie the photography, the yoga, the travel into with your writing?
That's a very good question, and this is how I do it.
Okay.
Um, I created, and I just finished it, yoga and writing.
Hmm.
So it's in a workshop format. So we do yoga, very simple yoga. And I've taught this many times in a workshop. Very simple yoga with the meditation. And then I give you writing prompts, and it's like 10, 15 minutes. And then we all read them and comment on people's writings. And it's a small group, so everybody gets a chance. And you would be amazed and shocked at how good people are in that kind of writing. It will help you create a writing practice every day. This is how I have 6 books that are published, and I'm getting paid to do writing because I read this book, The Artist's Way, and it
Right.
taught me how to write every day
You know
by
what?
Julia Cameron.
Yeah, and I seen another artist had talked about that same thing on notes of
Yeah.
how transformation she experienced in her writing as a result. So, if you see these things, these are signs that we need to pay attention to. And I have it on a Kindle, so I'm going to definitely start reading it as well. Okay.
You know, I cannot recommend this book enough, and it's about 30 years old now. So I got it when it first came out, and I've been writing since I read that. So I started writing every day. It says write 3 pages. Well, I couldn't stop. I
Wow.
wrote 5, 10 or pages, with my hand.
Okay.
And so what this workshop does is emulate that experience, but I highly recommend you read that book, Julia Cameron, Artist's Way, because it helps you to get in the frame of mind of just writing every day and not having any goal, not saying, oh, I'm going to publish it or I'm going to try it. Like, that's a whole different deal. And
Wow. Oh,
it's gonna make you when I grew up, I went to Catholic school, and so the English class was very conservative and all about punctuation and grammar. And I liked the class, but it wasn't a lot of fun. Like, it didn't promote your free expression.
okay.
But the main thing is when you're writing, and it's the same, I think, with a lot of people on Substack, like, let yourself free write, but the people that are publishing, they're going to be doing editing later. But that's a different side of your brain. Don't even think about editing while you're writing. Just get that draft down, let it all pour out, let yourself bleed on the page,
Hmm. Okay. Literally.
get it out. And then the other side of your brain, which is okay, so the creative one is your right
Right.
brain.
Correct, correct.
Okay. So your left brain does the editing. So you don't want that one interfering with your right brain activity.
Right.
And so you
Okay.
want that out. And so that's what we do in the workshop with these writing prompts. And I just taught it at a library 2 weeks ago. And I have taught retreats, like 3-day retreats doing this. And it's a lot of fun because the people that aren't writing regularly are actually surprised at how much they enjoy it, like the writing itself. And then some of them go on to have a writing practice because they enjoy it so much. So that's the goal, to get people writing. And, even if you never publish, writing is so therapeutic. I mean, I think it was hard for me when I first started having people read my writing. I was really scared to have that happen. I had to go to therapy and it was like,
Hey, been there, done that.
yeah, just to,
Okay.
just to have my writing be public. But then I found out that people liked it.
Okay. Yeah. It's transformative.
It's transformative. That's exactly right, Margaret.
Absolutely. And that's what attracted me to you. I was like, oh, she got it going on. I got need to talk to her, okay? Because she's wise. Okay.
Oh,
And so no, seriously, seriously. And what having worked for the government 39 years, being a prospective client, these are my concerns, my safety and security concerns, because when you travel with the military, you have to make sure you have the proper clothing. Okay. So if it's wintertime, you want to make sure that you dress in layers, okay? Because your comfortability might be my comfortability is going to be different from yours growing up in Michigan and yours coming from California. Okay, we need to take these things in consideration just in case the trip is delayed. Okay, do I have enough medication with me to make sure that I can get to get have enough to till I get home? What happens if my personal belongings like my passport or my purse is stolen? Okay, because I had to do this duty officer thing when I was working in Israel, and you had to do it. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So I had to do this one night in addition to my regular job. And most of the people that were calling into the embassy were saying that uh, my my luggage was displaced and my medication was in my bag. And if I don't have this medication within a certain period of time, I'm not going to be healthy. Or their information was stolen. And
I
if you don't have information, then you're screwed. So you always need to look at the travel advisories in advance. Don't go to a country where you see that there's political unrest. Oh, I'm going to go there and have a vacation. Well, that's not the place you necessarily want to go. Okay, so you might want to go in the others in the other direction. Look at these things. Prepare yourself. What do the things that I need to prepare for? Like when I went to South Africa, for example, make sure you had your malaria shot. Make sure that you have the proper clothing so these mosquitoes can't eat you alive. Okay? So you need to do your homework up front. So how much of this do, you know, people need to be aware of and prepare for in advance before they talk to you?
Oh, yeah, they can be totally unprepared and still talk to me because here's what I've learned about traveling solo to 34 countries and buying one-way tickets all the way around the world as I traveled 4 times. I've done that around the world. And here's what I have to say. Always do carry on, don't check anything. This is a very big one. And even if you're going like I can do only check on for an 18-month trip in Asia. So if you
Okay.
can do check on, you're going to eliminate a lot of problems right there. And I
Okay.
tell people for my retreat, just do check on and I'll tell you what to pack. Because, Sicily in the winter for this workshop, it's not that cold. You need a winter coat, yes, but there's plenty of days where it's nice enough to walk around with a sweater and a light jacket that you don't have to have, a very heavy coat. I mean, I bring it, of course, and I use it as a blanket when I'm traveling because it helps me to stay warm. So there's that, what you pack. Okay, now all of these things like passport and your medication, you've got to actually have that on your body. So what I do, and I'll show you right now, this crossbody bag that I got in Italy would hold, all of your important stuff. You could even put medication in there. Because if anybody gives you trouble about medication when you go through TSA, you just hold firm and you tell them, I'm going to die if I don't have this medication. They'll let you through. It's not going to be a problem with your medication, but you have to have it in the clearly marked container with the prescription on it. Do not ever let that off your person. So I wear that. I wear that thing on me for the whole 11-hour flight. So nobody's going to take my passport. And it's crossbody. It's not that comfortable, but okay, I'm not putting that down because you know what? You're very vulnerable in transit.
And kids is the biggest ones that you have to watch out for. They will get you quickly and they're gone. Your
Oh,
stuff is gone.
kids.
Yeah, kids is the biggest target, not the adults necessarily.
Well, I've been tried to be scammed by a lot of people. And here's what I got to say. Traveling in Europe is a lot safer than everybody thinks. It actually feels safer to me than the United States. I
I
think
believe.
the worst thing that can happen is being pickpocketed. I've never been pickpocketed there. And this will be my 8th time going to Europe coming up. And there are precautions, and I take public transit. I don't take taxis hardly ever. So I'm thinking I'm like on the metro in Paris with my luggage. You just have to be super aware. Don't have any drinks until you get to your hotel. Be completely on guard. Don't be tired. You know what I do right before we land, after I've been on a long flight, 11, 15, 16 hours, I get coffee immediately. I want to be alert because people are looking at you like, oh, who can I take advantage? So what you do is you walk with your head high. Like you're not going to take any crap from anybody. You got to like just pretend that even if you don't think it. And this has helped me a lot. Then number 2, you have a protective shield around you that no one will enter unless you invite them. This one I learned 6 months in South America because I was a lot more, oh, just anybody talk to me. I thought I was some kind of ambassador for the United States. No, you do not want to do that when you're solo. And see, when you're solo, and I really want to stress this, don't take advice from people that are traveling in a couple or with their family. Their experience is totally different. This is not what you're going to be experiencing if you're solo. Like, the amount of people that have tried to give me advice that were not by themselves, it's a completely different experience. I love it and I love doing it. But you really can't take safety tips from somebody that's never done it and doesn't know what they're talking about. So thank you for that because safety is number one. I am not going to go to Russia or North Korea. No, there's too many people that they have detained wrongfully for whatever, crappy reason. No, I'm not going there. I don't care how great it is. I'm going to go to places that treat me well, that want my money and are going to be hospitable and kind about it. And there's plenty of wonderful places to experience. There's the list is too long. Like, don't go to these places that have any kind of weird situation going on. Something bad can happen. And I want to say this too. A lot of people don't realize that your embassy does not help you as much as you think they will, unless you're famous. So,
I still want to say, before you go on any trip, you need to know where those uh, embassies are
yeah,
located, have their numbers and addresses in your phone. Well, in addition to your phone, because if somebody take your purse, somebody can take your phone, and if somebody take your phone, how are you going to contact the embassy or your family for that instance? And you're in a foreign country, you cannot speak. Like when I was in Israel, I didn't speak Hebrew, and most people see me, oh, I don't speak English. How convenient, because they don't want to be involved. So have your wits about you and know everything, down to what the exchange rate is and and also the VAT. Certain places you get the VAT back and certain places you can't. You got to know how far your money can go, because your money can get out of control real quick.
that's true. Because I'm going to tell you something. The second time I went to Europe, I lost a lot of money by doing this, which I highly recommend you don't do. So I had like $1,500 in cash on my body. And I'm like, oh, I'll just go get it exchanged. Oh my God. They took 30% of it. I'm like, okay, give me some more money for
Yeah,
Europe. And they're like, we did. We gave you all the money you're getting. I'm like, give it back. I'm not doing. Okay, so here's the answer. Get yourself a Charles Schwab card. There's probably others, but the Charles Schwab card is the one I have. It's a Visa card, and you can get money cash out of that, and they'll pay for your bank fees. So you don't have to pay big exchange rates, and you don't have to do bank fees. So that's what I've been doing the past like 6 international trips. And because sometimes you do need cash, like you can negotiate for accommodation in cash and get a lower price. So that's when you want to pay cash for things. But other than that, you can use your credit card for almost everything, everywhere, in most countries, not every country, but definitely in Europe, of course, in North America. But you should always have some cash, and you should be able to get it without paying an extremely high fee for getting your cash that you already have in there. So instead of using just your bank ATM, which they might not do that, most banks don't cover your international fees, but that will save you a lot of money.
When I lived overseas, I switched my credit card to that no fees and no international fees, because that stuff racks up real quick. And you're like, what the heck happened?
Yeah.
Always have cash, because when I was in Israel, they don't take US dollars. Okay. They don't take US dollars. You're going to give them shekels. You're going to give them, their currency. Okay. Or you're going to give them a credit card. Uh, so that's how you have them both, okay? And you always have the exchange rate is constantly changing, okay? So depending on our value, it devalues, goes up and down. All those markets are interconnected. So when our stuff goes down, they go up. So you have to pay attention to all of that. So that's why they had to pay us accordingly based on the cost of living. When our money is impacted like that, you have to take that in consideration too.
Well, I don't really think about that too much because when I'm going to get the cash, it comes out the cash that's of their country. So I'm getting euros. And I've noticed with the euros, it doesn't fluctuate that much. So I don't really pay attention to it. I've been getting euros, pesos in Mexico. But your point is valid because it might be a bigger change in another country. Something
Yeah.
happened. I mean, I haven't been checking. I did it. I just done it for Mexico in Europe. So I didn't have that. I wasn't doing it in Asia or South America. So now I'm doing it and it's much better. I mean, I think it's pretty favorable. Oh, here's the other tip. Don't, okay, it'll ask you when you go to get the cash, do you want to do the exchange rate that the bank says it's going to be? Always say no.
Okay.
Yeah, because theirs is going to be super high. So you always want to say no to that because they're going to put an unusually high one on.
See what I'm
So,
saying?
yeah. So that's probably another thing that would affect what you brought up about that because then you could pay more. So just
And
say
or you get less. Okay.
you
They
get
have,
less.
it has to balance out. You can't have it both ways.
Can't have it both ways, unfortunately.
You're gonna pay on the front end or you're gonna pay on the back end. But you're gonna pay.
You're going to pay. Well, you know, that topic is a whole session in itself because, like, there are a lot of hidden fees when you
Yes.
travel that if you're not smart about it, it could get racked up really high. Like, people go, "Oh, just take a taxi." It's like, no, taxis are super expensive. With it, you know what? Italy doesn't have Uber. So you've got to negotiate every single time you get in a taxi, and it's always going to be more expensive than you pay here in the US. So, prepare yourself for that. Like, just take the trains. People are scared. I'm on this for Sicily. People are like, "Oh, we're hiring a private driver." It's like, why don't you just take the train or the bus? You don't have to pay somebody $500 to take you around for the day. Like, okay, fine, if you got that kind of money, but that's the kind of thing you really don't have to do. I mean, okay,
You
I
know
guess
what? I'm sorry. When I
well,
was in the net, when
see, okay, fine, that's going to be fine, but that's a way to save some money.
I like the way the Netherlands did it. When I was in Amsterdam, you can buy a pass. You can get a pass where you can jump on, jump off the bus at any given situation. You can pay 100 euros or whatever it was. I like that. Then you can go wherever you want. You're not limited. You know what I'm saying? And then you can get pass to go to the rail system and go wherever you want. And it's amazing. And you can save yourself a lot of money. And another thing you have to do is watch these restaurants. They'll get you in gratuity, then they want tips, and then all this other stuff. And by the time you get through, when you look at the bill, you're like, "What the hell?" And then the exchange rate on top of that, you got to be real careful with those restaurants.
Well, my experience has been I haven't had to be careful with the restaurants. Okay, so here's why I think when I'm traveling, I'm figuring out the real places to go that the people that live there go. Like, that's one of my things that I'm really excited to do. And so, like, this last time in Paris, I stayed in the 12th arrondissement. You know how there's the different sections, and that arrondissement, and I'm sure I'm saying it wrong, had more local people. I could tell by just walking around. So some of the restaurants I discovered, it was a Vietnamese place, a Japanese Chinese place, and these were all less than 20 euros. And I'm like, what? This is great. Then I found a bar where everybody spoke French. They were all local. And you could get a glass of wine for between 4 and 6 euros a glass. And they had a million kegs on the wall. They're pretty well known now, but everything was super low cost. And that place was packed with Parisians. And so for me, I really love finding those local places. Like, I would never go to a really high touristy place because they're not as fun. And you end up talking to people. And like, if people are interested in you, they'll actually talk to you and you can talk to them. I mean, I, I found Paris to be, and I've been 6 or 7 times now, to be very friendly, and the young people know English really well. Oh, and this is funny. I would try to speak French with
Okay.
people, like, to try and, ask for directions or something, and they would very politely say, "We can speak English." And I just thought, "Great, thank you for being nice about it." They saw I was trying, and many of them would say, "Oh, I really need to practice my English more." Their English would be perfect. So, don't believe that stuff about France being, people being mean to you and they want you to speak French. The young people, the young Parisians I was talking to, a couple trips back, they said that's mainly the really old people.
Okay. Okay, like
I
me and you.
No, no, probably older. No, they were
Oh,
saying the old French people that are, like, on their way out, they don't wanna learn English, and, okay, that's understandable,
and they don't want to change. They don't want to change.
and
They're happy.
that's okay, and,
Yes,
you're butchering their language, okay, that's fine, but it made me feel more excited to discover France, and that's fairly new for me, even though I've been, 6, 7 times to Paris. Now I'm venturing out to Nice and the Champagne area and Lourdes and different areas that are very different than Paris. Oh my gosh. Different price wise, people wise, it's just a completely different dimension. So here's the thing. Don't judge a country by the biggest cities in the country. Get out of those big cities. Sure, see Rome, see Venice, but get outside those cities because you're going to have a deeper immersion into the culture. It's not going to be, that you're worried about getting scammed all the time. These are just people like us living their life. Like, okay, there's some tourism, but they're not like actively, oh, let's see how I can get one over on, this person. That kind of attitude is more in the bigger cities,
it, it
like the
is. You're right. And
cities.
because when I was in Israel, when I got to the smaller cities like Nazareth and the
Yeah.
Sea of Galilee, and when I got into the wine countries and everything, you could see the family structure, and you can see how people was much more hospitable, much more amenable to you, and inviting you into their culture and into their homes, and it
Yeah.
was so different experience altogether, and it enriched my life as a result.
Yeah, and I wanna say on that note, you're absolutely right. I have found, and particularly with Sicilians, my grandfather was born on Sicily, and after going there, this is gonna be my 8th time, the friendliness level, it made me understand him. He is he passed away, but he had a friendliness and a connection about him, and he was a high-powered lawyer, but he had this friendliness about him that I've just never seen in another person. So after going to Sicily, I saw this in all the people, pretty much everyone. Like, they're very they'll say hello to you. They're very patient. It's very different than Italy. It's a different feeling being there on this island. They're very proud of their culture. They have their own dialect. The food is very different. It's the best food in the world. It's been influenced by Norman, Phoenicians, Arab, Roman, and Spanish. So they've all like taken over and left their mark with architecture and food. And so I've got to say, after 34 countries, it's my favorite country where people are super friendly, are patient enough to talk to you. I would say 99% of people are patient enough to kind of hear your bad Italian and take a minute to talk to you. And then the culture of it is very family oriented, especially, outside the bigger cities. But even Palermo, I found really nice people to talk to. And that's a very big city. But like in Cefalù and Taormina and Syracuse, where we're going to stay on the retreat, people, like if you go to a market, a food market, where the locals are going and they're buying their produce there. I love doing that. You can talk to people and they'll connect with you. They're there selling their stuff, but they've got a patience that is remarkable. It really is. I mean,
You're right. You know, when I was in Israel, when I went to the Israeli markets, or whether I went to the Arab markets, the fruits and the vegetables are so fresh and so sweet, taste so tasty, much more than the ones that you get in the United States. It's unbelievable.
it's unbelievable. And I didn't know this until I started cooking over there. So I always get an apartment and I do my own cooking and go to these markets, and I'm so much healthier when I'm there. And then I come back here and you got to pay twice as much for the same thing, but it's not as good. Like the tomatoes aren't as good as their tomatoes. I had the best persimmons the last time I was there, and then one day they were gone. And I'm like, "Oh, where are the persimmons? I wanted to buy some." And they're like, "Oh, that season's over." I'm like, "Oh." But then the strawberries came in, and those strawberries were the best strawberries I've ever had. I didn't want to leave the country because I was like, I'm going to have to extend next time.
and then you and then you get introduced to different spices and seasonings, and you start to add these things to your food, and it gives it such a savory flavor, and it just enhances your whole life. Your whole life is changed forever. Okay.
Changed forever. And I think your whole life can be changed forever just on food alone.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think it's amazing. I don't know if I told you, but I was a professional cook before, a professional photographer, and I worked in restaurants. So that made me more aware of food in this way, that now whenever I travel, the food stuff is so important to me. Not only to do my own cooking, but also, to try food that I'm never going to be able to make. Um, but to learn about a place through their food. And then I got, interested in Anthony Bourdain and stuff. It's like, it's just incredible what people could do with food. I mean, have you ever heard of cannoli? Like, that's a Sicilian.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my God. I had the best one right before I left in Palermo at this famous bakery that is run by nuns. Oh my God. It just, even if you gain a few pounds, and I did, it's like,
Well,
I'm tasting the culture here.
and when I went to the wineries in Israel, I had such a good time. Okay, going to the Rothschild where they grow the grapes. They take you through the whole process, how they take them, and how they use their feet to all of that. That's back in the day. They have a different process now, and the fermenting process, and they take you through how the kegs and the aging process, and then what they do is they delight you first, right? They'll feed you, they'll serenade you, they'll get you drunk, and then they'll ask for your credit card. Okay.
Yeah. Then you give it,
It works every time. Okay.
right?
I come out with 5 6 bottles of wine. I'm like, oh man, but it's some good wine. Okay.
You know, funny because I did the tour in Tuscany and everybody except me was buying wine because they were going to go back right away, but I was staying another 2 months. So I was like, I'm just going to enjoy you guys buying the wine because, oh my God, the wine on that, it was just, I figured out it was like 12 or 15 glasses. I had to stop. It was like, and they were going on. These people were hardcore. I didn't meet them before. They were a lovely group of people from Australia, Idaho, Midwest. Like everybody was so great. Somebody was on their honeymoon. And, that's another thing. I don't do groups that much myself, like in a tour. because I like doing things on my own or leading my own groups. But I had so much fun at that in Tuscany that I really want to recommend to people if you go to the right kind of tour that's not too big, like a day tour, you can have an exceptional time. You can have, meet people, you can have a, good experience going to, like, how could you not have a good experience being driven around to 3 different wineries in
Oh,
Tuscany, being given a beautiful lunch at this organic farm, and, just like what you said, it just makes you this was, like, what, 15 years ago, and I still think of it, like, pretty often about what an amazing experience that was, both with people, the food, the culture, because
yes.
wineries really shows you about the culture, the people that give the tour in these wineries, they're always very interesting people. So I
And,
think we
and the
should.
thing Okay, the thing of it is most of these places have a caboose, and what they do is they till the land, they grow the vegetables, they plant the seeds, they plant the grapes and everything, and everybody puts in back into this like cooperative. Everybody do their part, and whatever they sell goes back into the betterment of this community.
That's cool. I've never been to Israel, but I've only heard good things about it.
And it works. So I'm like, hey, why don't we do the same thing? We keep the old people in the family. They help to raise the young, giving them all the nourishment and all the mental things, and to be able to with their identity, know who they are, and everybody learn and grows together.
Well, that's a good point. I'm finding though that I love traveling so much that I'm not home that often. So it's like grandma's out exploring the world. And I'm seeing that a lot more often now, like people 50 and above, they're not staying home and raising grandchildren. I mean, I want to raise that because sometimes I don't know if you're ever on Quora.com is a writing platform. I'm a top writer on that. And so yeah, and aging with attitude. Check that out. So one of the questions was, how come grandparents don't want to raise their children? And I answered that one because it's like, I raised my son. He's 39. He doesn't have children, but you have to. Okay, here's the thing. If you're 50 plus and I'm 69, this is a very special personal growth time for you. And personally, I'm helping with his dog. She's right beside me, and we have a relationship. I think you got to temper it if you want to explore the world and travel with doing things for yourself and seeing how you can implement being able to travel the world and also, enjoy your family too. But I don't want to stop traveling and exploring. I'm healthy. I've been doing yoga and meditation for 25 years. I eat right. Like I'm really wanting to take advantage of this time to express myself and explore the world and do things, like I told you before about the photography business. Like I was working 12-hour days for a long time. It was very successful and I still do photography for clients in Silicon Valley. However, it's not like I was doing it before where it was just like constant meetings, constant shoots. And I loved it. I'm not saying I mean I love my work, but I really like the pace that I can do it now with like not thinking about having to work every day. And, then I would go on these luxury trips that, spend $1,000 a day in the late 1980s and 1990s, which is like 5 times more now. And it's like, I have a different regard for my life now that doesn't include, always thinking about, oh, how much money can I make? Like, when you can enjoy your life at a slower pace. This is what Europe has taught me.
Okay.
Like being in Italy and France and just being able to sit down and have a glass of wine and just watch the world go by or not have a glass of wine, whatever, a coffee. Doesn't matter what you're drinking. Like I see people doing that in European countries and it's like, okay, I'm going to do it too. And it always turns something good. It's always a good thing to slow down. I thought I'm gonna get a coffee and I sat down. Well, I noticed on both sides when people are drinking wine and eating oysters on a Tuesday at 1 o'clock. They were definitely Parisians. And I'm like, I think I'm gonna do that right now. Like I didn't even think about that before I sat down. I just wanted a coffee and I just thought, these people know how to live.
There it is. Okay. And you know how to live. So, and still do the other things in life that you need to do. So, in other words, you have set boundaries.
Well, yeah, and see, the thing is that can sometimes be hard, but I think when you get older, and I think this is important to talk about, as you age and you start to realize now, one thing being spending a lot of time in Buddhist monasteries and Buddhist abbeys and ashrams over in Asia, spent a lot of time over there. And what I can say is one of the best things I got out of it was they really teach you, you are going to die and
True.
think about that as you're living. And it's not morbid. It's like, hey, I don't know when I'm going to pass over. Like it could be today, tomorrow, or 30 years from me. And so it's like your time becomes more valuable. I didn't think this way when I was younger at all. And so it's interesting because once, your parents pass over, both of mine have, God bless them. Um, and people that are younger than you and people in your family, you start to go, wait a minute, I really have to live my life more fully, um, more doing what I want to be doing and not, always thinking about everybody else. Like, what do I want to do? Now, that's kind of foreign for us women, especially, if you have children and you're not even doing it.
They always come first. Your husband and your children comes first, and we come last, and we know that because we are the backbone. Women are the backbone of this country, okay, and of the family.
Yeah.
So, so when do we put ourselves first?
Well, that's the thing. It takes practice. It takes doing it the first couple of times and then going, oh, this actually feels good.
Hmm.
I like this. And so you have to practice it to be able to do it. You can't just think about it. You've got to,
Intention.
and you don't have to be mad. You can be like, oh, it doesn't work for me. I, I need to be doing this, need to take care of my health. Like the past couple of nights, I haven't slept very well. Tonight, I'm going over to the beach. I'm going to be sleeping better over there. I always sleep better at the beach. And I could have done something else, gotten work done and, you know, gone over, started this big trip I'm going to be going on. But I thought, no, I actually want to go to the ocean today. I haven't slept well. I want to be able to sleep well tonight. That's a small goal, but man, I feel amazing when I can sleep well.
Makes a world of difference.
It really does.
I just want to say to you that on my last no, the trip that I took my last trip out of Israel, uh what I did was I treated myself to a first class flight. Okay? I paid the
Good.
government. The government paid the difference. They don't pay for first class, but I feel like I deserve that, okay? Because
You
on those
did.
long flights, okay? On those long flights, then you can lay back, relax, you can drink champagne before the flight take off. You can eat on regular plates with regular fork and spoon, and everything is so elevated. I would never fly an international flight otherwise, unless it's first class. What's your thoughts on
Right.
that?
Oh, I haven't done it yet.
What'd you say?
I have to do it.
You have never did it?
I've never done.
Just do it once in
I've
your life. Do
only
it once in your
been
life.
yes
What?
to do on a international flight.
Okay. Well, I see why people only fly first class.
Can you
Okay.
hear me?
Now I can. What'd you say?
I gotta figure out a way to do it
You
because it's always so expensive.
It's worth it. Trust and believe it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna have to do it. I know I did business class once. It wasn't that much more in Asia. And I was shocked at how much nicer the seat was. It was really nice. One of these days, I got to do the first class.
Yes.
But sometimes what happens though is because I go on these very, very long trips, and like I'm 3 months in Europe.
Right.
And so, I think in some ways it might be better if you're doing a short trip because you want to be comfortable rather than 2 days to recover. And
Exactly.
so, when you're gone for 3 months, you have to be a little bit careful about your budget because after having done a lot of luxury trips when I first started traveling with my partner and staying in these with budgeting for these long-term trips because I rent apartments and I do the research for the transportation, and it turns out you can have a more comfortable life in pretty much any country outside of the United States for less money, which I think is really interesting.
It is because on my list right now, I have a nephew live in Madrid, so I would also like to take advantage and go to Portugal and to Morocco when I do that.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's another
that's a
thing
good idea. It's
to
good
look at.
to be thinking about the places you want to go.
Yeah, and to
What?
maximize your money while you're going back.
Yeah, because if you could go to a whole nother country. Yeah, because here's what I found about flights. You can really get some pretty good flight tickets. This is a good tip. And do a incognito window.
Okay.
And then you don't even have to put in your destination. You can put in your departure and then say go anywhere. And what will pop up are all these flights to places that you might not have thought of flying into. And then you could, like, say for Europe, you could take a train, or like what I'm doing now is I always fly direct to Paris to get to Europe, and then I take a train or a flight somewhere else that's not as expensive as going direct from the United States, and that turns out to be cost effective.
And,
And it's
and
fun to plan.
and not only that, it's also cheaper to fly during the week rather than on the weekends, because if you fly on the weekend, you're gonna pay more money.
Yeah, sometimes you can get a deal on a Saturday because usually people don't fly that day. It just depends on the airlines.
And
So
the country. And the
I
country.
usually, and the country. Yes, that's right. So, the thing is, it does require research. If you want to talk to me one on one about planning a big trip for yourself, I'm an Italy expert, but I can also talk to you about Europe, South America, Asia, because, and it's good to help. My mission is to get people on the road and traveling. And I think sometimes people just need, validation for their plans. They need to bounce ideas off of a person who's an expert and can tell them. Because, here's the thing, I see a lot of stuff that's not true online about traveling. Like, I really want to share this right now because I'm starting to see advertisements for Italy specifically, and the photo will not be what they're talking about. Like it was an ad for Sicily. Well, they didn't have any pictures for Sicily. I have about 100,000. Anyway, and they showed a picture of northern Italy. That is not Sicily. And so I'm starting to see this with advertising. People are getting duped. So here's the thing. You've got to, whether you talk to me or someone else, talk to someone who's been to these places you want to go. Go online, go to Facebook. You can't always believe everything with that either, but try to do a lot more research than you're thinking, because you're going to find out stuff that you wouldn't from someone that's going to benefit from you buying their package or their flight or their hotel or whatever. But people need to be more informed because I'm seeing these advertisements of places that are not what the copy is saying it is, and I think that's really false advertising.
It is. So then,
Northern Italy is
go ahead.
Northern Italy. I'm trying to plug in my phone because it's losing power. Northern Italy is so different than Southern Italy. It's absolutely like a different country. So to say, oh, this is what you're going to see when you get there, and it's not a picture of the place. And you should check out my pictures of Sicily, even if you are undecided. But I do need to know by August 15th. That's why I'm getting out to all my people. If you want to go, let me know, because it includes accommodation, a week of accommodation, and it's at a boutique hotel, which is right on the Mediterranean Sea. And it's going to get booked if you don't get in touch with me by the 15th, and then I'll just close it, because it's a nice place to stay when you've never been to Sicily and you just, want that experience of being you know, having a relaxed tourist experience. It's just a beautiful island and a beautiful hotel. So get in touch with me before August 15th. And you guys should come on over and subscribe to both of us.
Absolutely. Mary, this has been phenomenal. Do you have any last comments that you would like to provide? Also, provide me your link again in my DMs or whatever. So, and I'll add it when I put the video out.
Oh, great. Thank you. Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, I'll do the retreat one, and I'll do the one-on-one and the Substack. Yeah, because I talk a lot about traveling in midlife. And here's what I want people to know. It's a very special personal growth time, being over 50 or over 60, like life creatively, travel wise. Maybe you want to start a business. I will say this. I heard that I lived down the street from the Dalai Lama, and he said this. He said the women, how did he put it? I can't quite remember, but he said women are the ones that are going to change the world. The older women, I wish I remembered exactly what he said, but it was like something that you didn't expect from such an ancient religion as Buddhism. But that's not, it's more a way of life than a religion. But anyway, just that when you get to be over 50, it's such a special time. And so think about your life like every day is really important. Do you want to travel? Do you want to start a new business? Do you want to spend more time with your family? Like, it's up to you. You can make this decision. And whether you come to Sicily with me or start traveling the world, I'm on a mission about that. Hi, Jill. To get people traveling, because what I've heard a lot of people say is, oh, I should have traveled when I was younger. No, it's not too late. No, get on it. And, you don't have to pick crazy countries that are difficult. And I've been to many, in Asia and South America and Central America. But I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I went to Bolivia and Peru and Laos and Cambodia and, 34 countries. I'm not sorry I did. I didn't just stay home and say, well, I'm too old to do this. Like, no. And you can learn new languages. You can learn 30 to 50 words of a language before you go, and maybe you might want to learn more because neuroplasticity keeps you young. It makes new pathways in your brain. Scientific fact. So, if you want to get traveling, especially if you're over 50, get in touch with me. We can have a session. You'll learn a lot by just getting your head in the right place. It's mainly mindset. A lot of times it isn't money. It's more of a mindset that you can do it. Don't listen to people tell you you can't. You're a grown up. You get to live your life the way you want. And you're going to have a fabulous time going forward into the best self that you've ever been, with more freedom and liberation. And you don't have to be a millionaire to do it. That's another myth. And I can help you budget for your trip and think about it in terms of, okay, I'm going to get going this year in 2025. You can. And I do heartily invite you to the Sicily retreat because it's a lot of fun. You might want to stay longer. You might want to start traveling more than you've ever traveled. And I can help you to do that with, a different mindset about your money so that you don't feel like you can't do things because of what it costs, because you really can. Like Cambodia is an amazing country to visit and it's very low cost there and it's safe. I've been there twice, both myself and I went with my son, and we stayed at a beach place in separate bungalows. We could afford our own bungalows for $200 a month. And it
Wow.
was yeah, I know. It was a really nice family vacation because we had our own space. We weren't each other's nerves. I mean, it is fun to travel with family, especially when you are getting your own space and time and, you don't feel like you have to do things you don't want to do. That's the whole thing about solo travel that's fun. It's you get to do everything you want to do. And a lot of times in life as women, we're putting everybody else first. So think of being who you are at this magnificent level as an opportunity for you to enjoy your life even more and be
A-
empowered.
Absolutely. You are empowered.
Exactly. This has been so great with you, Margaret. Thank you so much for asking me.
You as well. I have learned so much from you, and I am going to be on one trip. I don't know which one yet, but yes, absolutely. And
Oh,
maybe,
good.
yeah, maybe we can do this again sometime. It's been very, very helpful.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah. And actually, when I'm over there, it's fun to do it because I'm in another country, and it's fun to connect when you're on a whole different planet. So that'll be in winter, but maybe we'll do it before, but whatever you want to do is great. But thank you for inviting me. I'm really grateful.
And yeah, and thank you for accepting. And you stay safe.
I will. Yeah. Thank you so much. And you too. We'll be talking. We talked about some juicy topics.
Yes. All right. Thanks. All right. Bye bye. Bye.
Bye bye.